Daniel Schwager referred to the logic bomb that demolishes Christianity, but it's even worse than he notes. It claims an omniscient God created man and woman and put them in a garden. He gave them everything but a sense of right and wrong. He planted a tree in the center of the garden and made it bear beautifully attractive fruit, knowing, since he is all-knowing, that they would eat it. And when they did just what he had planned, since he is omnipotent, and he gave them no sense of right and wrong, he was stunned. Never saw that coming. His whole wonderful plan was spoiled, and he had to put a taint of original sin that they couldn't know was sin, they did not know good from evil, on them that would be passed down to their children throughout all the generations, and he would have to torture all of them in eternal, unimaginable suffering, because he loves them all. But then he hatched a plan to send himself down to earth and impregnate a woman with himself so he could sacrifice himself to take away the taint of sin caused when a talking snake convinced the woman to eat the magic fruit and give some to her man. Swallow all that and you are left to deal with the fact that there were people living all around the earth, but even though this God character loves all his children and wants them all to have a personal relationship with him, it somehow slipped his omniscient mind to announce anything about his grand plan to anyone living outside a tiny area around the Mediterranean Sea for centuries, so billions lived and died in far-off lands never even hearing about this Jesus they must accept. And to make matters worse, instead of just showing up on earth and revealing himself, his great plan to redeem us all was to hide so well he is totally undetectable. When something is entirely undetectable and we can't even measure its influence on other things, there is really no difference between its existence and non-existence. I'm well aware of all the excuses and apologetics Christians will trot out to refute the points made above. Religions around the world evolved for tens of thousands of years, and the great religions of today all share certain traits such as requiring that they be accepted on faith and making questioning them blasphemy. Here's a video that covers the top 10 claims of Christianity and explains why all 10 are all bunk. There are two big flaws that ruin any hope of rational discussions. The first is the primacy of faith. And that fear centers around the story of Doubting Thomas. Doubting Thomas, meeting Jesus in disguise of some sort, said he would not believe in a resurrected Jesus unless he witnessed the scars in his hands and side. Jesus showed him, and when he then believed, Jesus rebuked him, saying, "You believed because you have seen. Blessed are those who believe despite not seeing." This simple phrase has made it a virtue to not look for evidence, and a vice to seek out evidence. This flaw has caused people to value ignorant faith over knowledgeable evidence. The second biggest flaw is that it traps people in fear in the sense that they are taught that any time at any moment they could be struck down, and their final act of doubt would be the likely measuring stick used to determine their eternal destiny. I felt the fear when I was looking for some scientific rationale for my beliefs, felt very strongly that I was being set up by Satan to have doubt for a moment so that I could then be struck down for eternity. These two traps are thinking flaws that ensure that Christians will be immune to reason. I call these two flaws the biggest because these are the two that trap people in a form of circular inescapable logic that keeps them from even considering any of the other great logical flaws that the others have pointed out. This ridiculous web of terror, can't doubt for even a second, because in that second I could get a brain aneurysm and die before I'd had a chance to repent, and there would go eternity, can't listen to, or consider alternatives, close ears, close eyes, shut out the temptation. These are not flaws in the mimetic sense. These are the shields that allow the meme to get in and take over the organism, ruining its life, but passing along the meme to future generations. So from a mimetic evolution standpoint, these are not flaws, but feature. But from an advancing of society in the 21st century where we have brain scans and can begin to leave behind a demon-haunted world and improve the lot and minds of billions, these are deep flaws that stand in the way of progress.